David wants to do what David wants to do. He doesn't care about anybody else. The whole world does not revolve around David. Actually, Dad, it kind of does. It just got real.
Oh, wow.
Howdy, welcome to the Autistic Page. I am David Page. I am a PDA Autistic and ADHD. Today I'm going to talk about how and why I began to resent my parents as a child. Now, I was diagnosed at 50, a little over a year, well, about a year ago, and I have studied autism and ADHD ever since. I recently discovered I was PDA. With that said, I would like to discuss my mindset as a child. So my dad, when he would say those things like the world revolves or doesn't revolve around you, David wants to do what David wants to do, that actually was kind of true, but not for the reasons that he thought. As a PDA, we tend to attach to maybe a particular person. Right now it's my wife. When I was a child, it was my dad. Literally all I wanted to do was please him. That was my whole thing in life. And of course, I was completely unable to do that. They didn't know I was autistic or anything else, and they got a lot of bad advice from school counselors and so forth. In the 70s, basically the theorem was if your child is acting out, you're not parenting good enough. And you're not harsh enough or strict enough. You're not taking control enough. And that was literally the worst philosophy that you could possibly have with a PDAer. I think what really bothered me the most was I just couldn't do anything. I could not live up to the expectations of my parents. But when I did do something that was quite an accomplishment, their praise turned very negative. Well, see what happens when you apply yourself? Well, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything, huh? Just goes to show you can do what you want, you just don't want to. That was the kind of praise I got. I was trying my hardest. I was putting out more effort than anyone could possibly imagine to try to please them. And then I would get admonished for succeeding because I didn't succeed all the time, or I didn't act that way all the time. So I would literally get admonished for doing good. So when it comes to rebellion, and a lot of times autism, particularly PDA, is mistaken for rebellion. Actually, I did get to rebel. I did, because I realized no matter what I did, if it was good, the praise was going to become negative, and basically I would get in trouble for doing something good because I didn't do that all the time. Or if I didn't please them, I was in trouble for that. So it didn't matter. And it got to the point, once I got up in my teenage years, I could give a shit less about them or what they thought. And I did rebel. I rebelled against their parenting, not against them. I loved them. I loved my father. But when I couldn't win for losing, why not rebel? Why not just say to hell with it? And so literally I would stop trying. And that became a huge problem. Now, as far as only caring about myself, only wanting to, being concerned about my needs, you're damn right. You're damn right. Because I have to survive, to function as a human being. When I was a hospital corpsman, one of the things that surprised me, I learned in, actually it was FMS training, when I went to the Marine Corps training. We were taught that if a Marine gets hit, yeah, you run out there and you patch them up, but you use their body as a shield from the bullets. Now, this is very counterintuitive, and it sounds like the worst thing you could possibly do. But say you've got 14 other guys you got to worry about. One guy's hit. So if I went out there and used my body to protect them, and I get hit, now I've got 13 other guys that don't have a medic. So the most selfless thing I can do is, unfortunately, use that Marine's body as a shield. And it just saying that is like a bad taste in my mouth. But it's just reality. So, as a corpsman, the most important thing you could do is keep yourself alive, and so that way you could take care of your Marines. That was being not being selfish; it was being selfless, and that's a very hard pill to swallow. And that's why there are so many hospital corpsmen that have medals of honor, because they couldn't do that. As a PDAer, it is essential that you take care of yourself. I preach, I say as an autistic person, what's the most important thing you can possibly do? There's only one correct answer, and that is always take care of yourself first. Because if you don't, you cannot contribute or help others around you. If you do, there's a darn good chance you just might be able to. So as a result of this, of trying to take care of myself and worrying about my needs, I was considered to be a very selfish, vain, self-seeking child. And I was trying to function as best as I could so that I could then please my father. And it never worked. It never worked. So when we talk about how to deal with a PDA kid, the first thing I would say is a lot of times people advise against giving direct credit or direct praise to a PDA child. I would disagree. And this is just my opinion, and everybody's right when they say this. I just want to take it a little bit further, at least for me. Wow, that's amazing. That's a great job. You really did that all by yourself. You have an amazing mind. You're smart. That's all that needs to be said. How did you do that? Really? Well, how much time did it take? Or what made you think to do that? All those kinds of questions I am going to eat up, and I am going to be autistic and info dump. All right? And I'm going to love it. And it's never changed since I was a child. So if we say, well, yes, this shows that you can do better and you use it against me, I'm going to shut down. I'm going to shut down instantly. I'm still going to shut down. My brain does not compute. And what's really frustrating is that I can intellectually understand what's going on, but my emotions do not match that. So then I have to self-regulate or do whatever I have to do and take care of myself. As a parent of a PDA, my best advice is to help your child to be autonomous. Help them to make their own decisions. This does not mean you have to go too far either. Frankly, there's times in life that no matter what, we have to do what the hell we have to do. Say it's go to a doctor because we're ill, have COVID. You have to do that. We have to face those demands. Now, it's very, 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 very nice if most of our demands are reduced, so that way we are prepared for those demands. But it's kind of written sometimes in a way that it seems like parents get the idea that they should have a demand-free environment, and I will call BS on that. We have to live our lives. I have been independent since I was 17 when I went in the Navy. I owned my own home until just recently when I moved in with my wife's family, because we all have needs that we need. Got to take care of each other. I had to develop certain tools and certain methodologies to deal, to cope, and to push on. One of these is one step at a time. And that can be literal. I've got to cook dinner. Well, okay, sometimes it can get down to, okay, move the right foot, move the left foot. And all I have to worry about is taking that next step until I get to the kitchen. Then maybe I need to open the refrigerator and find whatever food. All keeping this down to one demand each. In my mind, it's one demand. And it's very simple and easy to follow through with that one simple demand that I put on myself, or maybe even another person put on me. But if I focus on that one demand, then I can still think 2 or 3 steps ahead, but I'm focusing on this one demand and getting it knocked out of the way. Now I feel better, I've accomplished something, and now I'm ready for the next step. And this can be as simple as each step made to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or build a barn. It doesn't matter. One step at a time. Focus on that. So if you could help your kids to understand just one step at a time, you don't have to do the whole thing all at once. You're not going to. Nobody does. Just take that one step. And my parents always saw the big picture and expected everything to be done and would present it to me that way. I would become overwhelmed and not do a damn thing. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope it kind of helps you have a little bit better understanding of how to approach a PDA kid and definitely what not to do. This is David Page. Screw them, flop harder.